I have been on a decluttering mission since the beginning of the year, and now I'm left with all of this stuff that I've decided to declutter and get rid of. So now I have to figure out what I want to do with it. So today we're going to chat about how to sell those items that you've decided to declutter and make a little bit of extra money. If you are new here, my name is Sophie from Sophisticated Organization. I talk about all things organization, decluttering, productivity, and have been running a 6-month decluttering challenge here on my YouTube channel as well as on my Instagram account at Sophisticated Organization, where you can join in at any time. I also have an ebook that you can purchase on my website if you want to start the challenge from the beginning or do it on your own time. But one of the things that we don't talk about enough is, what do you do with all of that stuff that you've decided to declutter? Of course, there's the route of donation, giving to friends and family. If something is truly damaged and destroyed, or there's really no useful life left in that item, you can always put it directly in the trash or recycle it if you're able to do that. But I know one of the biggest reasons I feel held back from getting rid of items is I spent so much money on something, or something has a lot of value to it, that I hate just getting rid of it and feeling almost like I'm just giving money away. And if you feel like that too, then I'm hoping this video will be really helpful for you. So the first thing that you can try and do is sell locally. Sell your items to a consignment store. And a consignment store can be a clothing consignment store, it could be a furniture consignment store, it could be one that does a variety of different things all in one. But your best bet there is just using good old Google, looking up different consignment stores in your area and seeing the different ways that all of those consignment stores work, because they all do work differently. There's kind of two main models. One model is you bring your clothing in, they evaluate it, and then they pay you on the spot for what items they're going to accept. The other model is kind of the reverse, is they take your clothing, put it on the floor, and if it sells, then they will give you a commission on that sale. They will also take a percentage of it. I find that the latter option, where they take a commission if it actually sells, ends up yielding a little bit more cash, just because they're not taking the risk at the outset of purchasing your clothing basically, and then if it doesn't sell, then they bought it and didn't make any money back. So if you can find one where they only pay you if they sell it, and then if they don't, you can actually take it back, or sometimes they'll give you the option to donate it. So if they don't sell it, you can take it back and try reselling it somewhere else if you're interested in that. But depending on where you live, you might not have a lot of consignment store options, or it might be a little bit of a hassle for you to drive to one of those, go through that whole process, because trust me, there is a little bit of a hassle there. So if you're not interested in going to a consignment store, but you're still trying to sell these items yourself or sell them locally, some other great options are hosting a good old-fashioned garage sale or yard sale. That I know is a whole ordeal. Again, it depends on your area, if your house is easily accessible, if you want to host it yourself. It is a lot of work to go through that, to make space for it, price all of the items yourself, but it can be a really great option if you have tons of stuff you need to get rid of. Maybe you're moving or just doing a major declutter or downsizing, then a yard sale or garage sale is a good choice potentially for you. If you have bigger items or more one-off items, you could always use something like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, eBay, anything like that. I've personally had some success with Facebook Marketplace, and I think a lot of people have been moving towards Facebook Marketplace. You can sell truly anything there. I've done some furniture on there, just because furniture can be really hard to sell because it's so big and bulky. We don't have a truck or a way to transport a lot of our furniture, so you can specify, if you're using Facebook Marketplace, that you want somebody to come to your home. They have to be able to pick it up, or alternatively, you, if you're able to transport it, could offer to deliver something to them. You could meet in a neutral place. I know a lot of people with Craigslist do that type of stuff. I make sure if we ever have somebody like meeting us at our house, we've had these conversations back and forth, my husband's home, all of that stuff, just for safety, because I know it can be a little bit nerve-wracking selling on those public sites. And another thing to note, if you've never sold on one of those before, and if you have, you can probably relate to this, there's a lot of work in the conversations going back and forth. You will get a lot of messages asking, is this still available? Or are you willing to go down to a certain price? What is the condition? Even if it's all listed in the listing, you're gonna get lots of questions, lots of people reaching out, and then lots of people ghosting you, never following up, or saying they're gonna come to your house and meet you to look at the furniture, look at the item, potentially purchase it, and they just never show up. And a lot of those in-person things can be a little bit more difficult, so people often opt to sell their items online. And that, I think, is where the big potential is. There are so many different resources for selling your items online, and there are some that do a little bit of everything. They sell a variety of items, but there are also certain online platforms that are really niche and for a specific market. And I wanted to highlight some of my favorites. And one of the first ones I'm going to talk about is for jewelry. And I want to talk about the alloy market. First of all, I want to thank Alloy for sponsoring today's video. Even though they are sponsoring today's video, I have personally used this to sell some of my jewelry and had great success with it, not only in the value that I got for the jewelry that I sold, but also just in the whole entire process. So first of all, you can request a free appraisal kit. They will send it directly to your house, and the packaging is really easy to insert your jewelry. You package it up, it is fully insured, you ship it off to them. Once they get it, they are so fast in assessing the value of your gold. They will break down how they got to that value, and they will then give you an offer and say that you can either accept or reject the offer. If you reject the offer, they will return the item to you at no cost whatsoever. If you accept it, they will give you a few different options as to how you would like to be paid, if you want to check, if you want to get paid via PayPal. And again, if you accept, they are really quick about getting you that payment. I was able to sell one of my rings really recently, and once I sent it in, again, I got an offer pretty quickly. They actually offered me over $300 for the ring, which I was really surprised. I thought was a really good offer for it. And they do offer the highest price guaranteed. I just thought the whole process was so seamless, convenient. I felt like I could trust them. And I know it's scary sending in a piece of jewelry, so hopefully knowing that I've actually done it myself gives you a little bit of reassurance. I reached out to Alloy, and they were actually nice enough to give all of my subscribers a special offer. If you use my referral code, you will get an extra $15 Amazon gift card on top of the best price guaranteed offer. So make sure to check for that referral code in the description box, as well as any of the other websites that I'm mentioning. I will leave links to them in the description box if you're interested in trying anything else out that I mentioned. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was technology. So the best place I found for decluttering technology online is called Declutter. And Declutter is a great place because you can sell media and technology. And again, their process is also quite seamless in the way that it works. You will get a free valuation on whatever you're trying to sell there by entering the barcode of your product. They also have an app that you can use and scan the barcode. And if you don't have a barcode, you can search for it. They will then send you a welcome kit that you can use to package up your items. Send it back to Declutter. It will arrive at their warehouse a few days later. They have expert specialists that will take care of your items. They will then remove any personal data you have on there, and they will process it usually within about a day after it arrives, and they will be able to pay you via PayPal or direct deposit. Or a really cool option is you can also opt to donate to charity. If you are in the phase of life where you have just finished up with a bunch of baby items, or you have kids that are even a little bit older and you're trying to get rid of some kids' toys as they continue to move through those ages and stages, and there's so many extra items left in your house, there are a few great options to try and sell kids' items. The first two that I'm going to talk about, I am going to dig in more detail when we talk about clothing next up, but they are ThredUp, which is great for clothing, and Mercari. Mercari, you can sell kids clothing, but you can also sell so many different things there. You can sell kids toys and gear, and again, lots of other things there. As a kind of general catch-all, if you are trying to sell something that doesn't fall into one of these specific categories, check out Mercari because they have lots and lots of categories. I was seeing somebody selling like a Mrs. Meyer's hand soap and dish soap set on there. There's like just truly everything there. So when in doubt, you can check Mercari if you can't find a specific niche to sell your item in. But in terms of other baby items, I would recommend Rebel Stork. And actually, a friend texted me about this. She was putting together her baby registry and asked if I had ever used Rebel Stork before. And full disclosure, I have not. but I do have another friend that has used it as well. It's a great option if you're trying to buy some baby items that are gently used, but also if you're trying to sell some baby items, because they not only have used items that you yourself can sell, but they also have overstock and open box items that have never actually been used from sellers and different retailers. So that's a great way to get a discount. My brother and sister-in-law actually got their stroller. They got like a umbrella twin stroller that way. It was an open box item and they saved a ton of money just because the box had been opened before and it was never even used. But if you are trying to use it to sell your items, make a little bit of cash on some of your lightly used baby products, the awesome thing is they can actually pick up items for you. They will photograph the items and sell it on their website. And the commission fees do vary quite drastically depending on the type of product you're selling, the condition it's in, but you can actually make up to 80% of the sale price when you use Rebel Stork. Another great option is buy-sell groups in their local area. A lot of this stuff can be local because, like I was talking about with furniture, baby items, not just baby clothing or kids clothing, but baby items can be extremely bulky. So trying to find something local is a great option. We talked about things like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace earlier. Those can be good options for baby items. You can also look at local buy-sell groups on Facebook. I know there are some that are very niche to specific areas. So baby products are a great option there. There's also, like, if you have a specific type of kids clothing that's maybe a little bit higher end, like I know Little Sleepy's pajamas are expensive pajamas. They're bamboo, they're kind of trendy right now, but there are specific Facebook groups that are buy, sell, swap, whatever it might be, for specifically Little Sleepy's brand pajamas. So make sure you're looking for those niche things on buy-sell groups. Okay, I've held off on the big major category here, but before we finish this video up, let's talk about clothing and the different online resellers that you can use to sell some of your clothing that I am personally a fan of. Number one that I think is unique is ThredUp. I think it's unique because if you don't have time to take photos and make a listing and all of that stuff, you just send your clothing in and they take care of all of that for you. They send you a prepaid bag or a mailing label, and if your items don't sell, they will send them back to you or they will recycle them. You can have a variety in terms of how much money you can make with ThredUp. Their commission fees can range from 20 to 95% of the sale price. So you don't necessarily know what you're gonna get, which can kind of be a downside. But again, if you are somebody that doesn't have a lot of time to be setting up your own online storefront and all of that stuff, then ThredUp might be a good option for you. If you do have more time, and maybe if you have a little bit of trendier clothing, Poshmark is the way to go. You do have to take care of taking your own photos, creating the listings, setting the price, kind of managing all of that. So do know that there is more work involved there. And they will send you a prepaid shipping label whenever an item is purchased, so you can send it straight off without having to worry about generating that yourself or dealing with purchasing shipping labels. They also offer a flat commission rate depending on the price of the item you sell, which is kind of a unique and interesting structure, different from a lot of these other online resale communities. The Real is where you're gonna wanna go if you have luxury or designer items, and they truly do need to be much nicer items or designer brands. And they actually have fashion experts who will photograph and post listings of your items. So again, you don't have to take care of all of that, but it does need to be those higher quality items to use the Real. The Depot is another option where you can sell individual items or you can set up a storefront, kind of similar to Poshmark a little bit, or Tradesy is another one in the same vein where you need to take a photo and upload it and create that listing. And then once an item is purchased, then you will send it off to whoever purchased that item. So those are some of the different online resellers. Hopefully there are a few that you've never heard of before. I personally have made quite a bit of money through the years reselling, like I said, furniture on things like Facebook Marketplace. I have done a lot of my clothing on Poshmark before. I have also done local consignment stores. I mentioned that I have done alloy and sold jewelry that way. Lots and lots of different options. If you want me to do a deeper dive video into any of these platforms or companies that I mentioned, please let me know in the comments below, because I would be happy to do a more in-depth video on any of these different ways of selling items. I know it can be really overwhelming. And on the other hand, if you are also interested in different ways to donate, if you're not necessarily looking to make money, but if you want to do good with the items you have, I have lots of different resources for how to donate. Even clothing that you think is so completely ripped and torn that there would be no use for it, trust me, there's a use for it. Or if you're thinking, I have a wedding dress, what can I do with that? Or I have old makeup products, what can I do with that? I have resources for that. So if you want to see a video on where to donate items, I can do that as well. But I want to thank you so much for joining me. This was really fun, and I hope you make a little bit of extra cash from everything you were able to declutter in your home.